Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're doing well today, managing to stay healthy. Today's lesson plan is about assistant stage managers, primarily what their role in a technical rehearsal actually is. Um, we'll talk a little bit about their overall role, but it's primarily the focus of today's lesson plan is what an assistant stage manager has to do in a technical rehearsal. The first thing they have to do is convert all those tracking sheets they did into preset lists. The prop tracking becomes the prop preset. The quick change list becomes a running sheet for where the quick changes happen for the wardrobe department. Um, Another thing an assistant stage manager has to do is set up backstage. And by that, I mean you actually need to make sure that you have tables, that they exist, because you never know what a theater might have. They might have tables, they might have shelves, they might not have anything from the last show. You need to pursue that with them. In addition to making sure that there are prop tables and setting those up appropriately, you need to make sure that there are lights where you need to have light. Usually it's a light that has a blue gel over it, or it's a blue light bulb so that it's a little bit dimmer and the audience doesn't notice it. But you need to make sure that there are lights backstage. You need to make sure that whatever cables are run backstage are neat and are safe, whether it's taped down, covered with carpet. The assistant stage manager makes sure that backstage is as ready as it can be when the actors are going to come in and rehearse, and as safe as it can be with all the various different elements your show may have. Um, you can take a look at the running sheet from Urinetown that is on Blackboard, and you can get an idea of all the different things an assistant stage manager has to be aware of happening on the deck. And believe it or not, the stage manager may not be aware of it all, but the assistant stage manager, for safety reasons, is aware of everything that's going on. And that running sheet shows every different move that all the crew people have to do. Another thing assistant stage managers deal with a lot are spike tape and glow tape. The big thing to remember with glow tape is that you don't want to go overboard with it. Glow tape shows up really well in a blackout, and you don't need to make it a runway. You don't need to make the stage more interesting than the set. An assistant stage manager is part of the team that is responsible for training the run crew, the backstage crew, in their new duties. It's the time that they have to learn their job. They haven't been watching the show in rehearsal. They have never seen it. They don't know what needs to happen until the assistant stage manager gives them all the paperwork and explains things to them. An assistant stage manager will literally give all the paperwork to the crew. For example, give all the prop presets to the prop person. The prop person will set all the props, and then the assistant stage manager will go back, and every single solitary show, an assistant stage manager will double check that all the presets are in the correct place. Things move in the show, things move, people go backstage. You never know what happens. Everything needs to be checked every single show to make sure that it's going to function the way that it's expected to function. Another responsibility for an assistant stage manager may be in part to choreograph scene changes. The director may be doing it if it's actor motivated scene changes, but if it's just run crew, or especially if it's run crew and blackouts, an assistant stage manager may well be responsible in large part for choreographing those scene changes. A good general rule is that in a scene change, anything that is a flying element that's being struck or being taken off the stage wants to fly out first. That gives you a lot of freedom on stage. And at the end of the scene change, any flying element that needs to be set for the next scene shift, that wants to be the last thing that flies in. So general rule for scene shifts, first thing that happens is flying stuff out, last thing that happens, flying stuff in. An assistant stage manager also has to update all the paperwork and make sure that it is as current as possible. One quick story. Twice in 1 year, I had stagehands who didn't show up for work on two different shows, completely unrelated, both times because they'd been arrested and didn't use their one phone call to call the stage manager. And one of them, I had literally just taken the stagehand's paperwork home the night before to update everything in my paperwork. And it was incredibly fortunate that I had done it at that point in the show, because when somebody walked in the door at 5 minutes to 8 to run that track, I could hand him paperwork and say, this is what you do and this is when you do it. Let me know if you have any questions. Um, we were really lucky. And it's better to be safe and update things all the time than to just be lucky. So I hope that you enjoy all the videos this week. There's a bunch of really good ones, including a couple from other people from Queens College. Um, One who just turned equity on her last show that closed the day after it opened because of the coronavirus. But she got her union card out of it. There's a great one about prop tables. There's a bunch about backstage life. There's one that shows you like quick changes happening. And I think my favorite is the scene change from Saturday Night Live. So let me know if you all have any questions. A reminder that you have about a month until the final project is due. I think that's May 13th that's due. All right, and due for next week is a 5-sentence summary of today's lesson plan. You need to create a prop preset list for Antigone, which will also be something you can use for your final project. And you need to read Chapter 8 of Stage Manager's Toolkit. That's it. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you next Wednesday.